What's up, fam? We are back with another video. You already know how we coming, man. Thank you guys for all the continued support, the encouragement, the engagement that I've been getting. The love has just been amazing, guys, and I thank you all for the support that y'all been showing me. I'm deeply humbled for this, and it's just even giving me more of a reason to continue making these type of videos, right? So I ain't gonna waste too much time. We'll get into the video. Sorry I did not drop a video yesterday. I have been dealing with some allergies. Now, in my 25 years of life, last year was the first year that I've ever started experiencing allergies. Crazy, right? But I think I read something where they said like your allergies change every like 10 to 15 years or something like that. So it was only a matter of time before I started getting allergies, but trying to deal with it, I'm new to it, so, it kind of put me down yesterday. I ain't even gonna lie. You can probably hear it in my voice, I'm still dealing with it as well. But, hey, we here, we got work to do. We have a purpose to fulfill. So, that brings us here today. Obviously, you see what the video title is, right? Addressing the spirit of lust and my journey in celibacy. We'll start with the first part, right? So, let's talk about lust. Let's talk about my experience with lust. So, the reason why this topic was on my heart today, and it's something that I've been wanting to talk about, is because a lot of people are struggling and dealing with lust. And it's not like a rare type of thing. It's like, 9 out of every 10 people that you either walk across or come across, your friends, your family, are dealing with lust, whether it's publicly or it's something that they're hiding and keeping deep down in that closet, right? And this is so important because lust is very, very dangerous, and it keeps a lot of people from God, and it strays a lot of people from what love actually is. And the reason why I want to talk about this is just because, I've had experiences with lust and my struggles with that. And, it's something that needs to be talked about. It may make people look at me differently, or, bring me in a different light, but this is what this is for. It's about sharing my experiences, my struggles, and talking about things that we as humans are struggling with, and just bringing it to the front of the room, not putting it where the elephant in the room is, right? It's just about being honest, being transparent, through the highs and through the lows, right? So, lust, my experiences with lust. So, this is actually funny. So my experience with lust has, over the years, it's kind of shifted to what it used to be. So I would say growing up, at least for like men, when you start hitting puberty, you start thinking about girls a lot, blah, blah, blah. That's something that you start to encounter, like, I guess, as you're in middle school, going through high school, obviously. And that was something that was very prevalent in my culture growing up. Like, it was just always about, how many bodies can I catch, or how many women, can I take advantage of? Like, that was just always what the culture was. And like, people don't like to put it in that terms, but that's literally actually what it was. And I would say that I dealt with lust, and it was like, so let's backtrack to the last video, right? So the last video, I was explaining to you guys about how, my weight was one of my biggest insecurities, and something I've been dealing with as far as confidence, like, for a majority of my life, right? So when I talk about that, I always thought that was a curse in my life. Like, it was just one of the biggest setbacks and one of the biggest anchors holding me down, on my walk with life, like my insecurities, that affecting how my confidence was as just a human, right? But when it comes to a form of lust, I actually think that it saved me a lot of times. and it was actually a gift in certain ways. And what I mean by that is like growing up, like obviously, I was never really the type of person to like, I didn't want to be with multiple women. That whole game of trying to have sex with as many people as you could, like that was never my forte. That was never something that, that was just never my character. That was never who I wanted to be. But it was for all my friends around me, all of my friends, all the people that I know. Like that was, what they were engaged in. That was something that was interesting for them. And the reason why I feel like my insecurities helped me is because my life could have probably been so much different if I didn't struggle with these insecurities of my weight, and my confidence as it came to, dealing with women, right? And that's why I said I feel like it saved me, because there would be a lot of opportunities or a lot of times where I would turn women down because of my insecurity, right? And like I said, how that's been a curse most of my life. In that form, it was actually a gift because it saved me. It saved me from, breaking these covenants and, having sex before marriage and doing all these type of things, which, I did do. Not happy or proud of it, but what I mean is by the frequency of how many times I could have done it rather to how many times I didn't. And I feel like my insecurity saved me in those terms. And it's important to talk about because this is just something that we're all dealing with as humans in all different type of ages. Kids are 10, 11, 12 years old, having sex, and this goes up to 50s and 60-year-old people as well. Like, it's not something that has been easy to deal with, and it gets harder when you're not speaking about these type of things openly, because now this is just something that you're struggling with internally that's killing you day after day after day after day. And I would say that, like, the societal view of sex, like how I mentioned before, is that like a lot of times we just want to have sex with the other person just to say we had sex with the other person. And all that's doing is filling your ego, it's filling your pride, it's giving you one up advantage on people. That way you can share with your friends, like, hey, I had sex with this girl, or I had sex with this guy, like, just to throw it in somebody's face and to boost your ego. And it's like, when you really spell that down, like, you got to ask yourself, like, what does this even mean? Like, why am I doing this? What is the chase so fun for? And like, for at least from like a man's perspective, like, I've been around several conversations with men where like they would literally tell me why their experiences with trying to have as much sex as possible is because like they want to be dominant. They want to conquer as many women as they can possibly, like, to be like, hey, like, that was part of my collection, right? I had her, 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 I had her. And it's just a boost the ego. And that's like one of the most like low life things like that you could think and do. Like it's very disgusting when you think about it, and it's very immature as well. And that's not to judge anybody, but it's just to bring awareness to yourself and why are you thinking these type of things, right? Why does that excite you? And you always have to go back to the root of these certain things, and why they are happening, right? So like I mentioned, my curse with the insecurities with my weight and confidence are things that actually helped me in my walk with lust. And my walk with lust before was, I was really trying to do these certain type of things, but I just wasn't as frequent with it. Like every once in a while, if, I was getting peer pressured or people trying to be like, yo, Bill, you gotta go, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would be like, all right, like, you know what? Like, I gotta prove it to my friends, whatever. But, that was like the early half of my life. The second half of my life, which leads to current day, is something I've been struggling with is a wandering eye. And I didn't quite know how my struggle was with it until I really started going back into the gym again. And those of you that don't know what a wandering eye is, it's just like, it's self-explanatory. Like, you have a wandering eye. Your eye is very freely looking at stuff, right? And that could be a woman's body, anything, anything about a woman's body. Like, and a lot of times men, like, we always look at women's body, like, whether we're talking to them or whether they're walking by us. It doesn't even matter if we're walking with our girlfriends or on a date. Like, you still can't have that self-control to stop looking, right? And that was something that I've been struggling with, I guess, over the last course of the years. But something that was really brought to my attention, the last year or so. Like, I realized that, yo, why am I doing this, and why is it so hard? I wouldn't go as far as to say like those that part of the lust would lead to the bigger part of the lust, which is like, having sex and stuff like that. But it was something that I was definitely struggling with, and I began to really hate it because I would just keep questioning myself, like, why do I have to look at what her body looks like after I look at her face or whatever? Like, why isn't her face or her personality just enough, right? Why do you have to automatically just like look? And I started to realize it was really second nature, like, a bunch of the time, because we've been doing it for so many years at this point, like, that it's just second nature. Like, as soon as you like look, like, you always try to look down, right? And you know it's not cool. It's really not, and it's something that I've been struggling with as of lately. And like I said, my journey coming back into the gym, I realized that Satan, he was trying to tempt me with a lot of different things, like, and it was when my walk with God started getting much stronger that I realized how I was being tempted. So is it something that I've fully, been breakthrough, and something that I fully mastered yet? I haven't, right? And it's something that I hate though, like, because sometimes it's just second nature. Like, I'll just be in a conversation, or maybe I'll just be sitting down, like, stretching before I gotta lift for the gym, and a woman will walk by, and like the first thing that I will do is I'll look at their face, and then, like, before I can even, like, get myself to look back down on myself, I would hurry up and look, down at their body. And I'd be like, why? Like, why am I doing that? And I had to realize that, it's that temptation. So like now, like, when I be going to the gym, like, I really just try to be in my own world. And I, if I do happen to mess up and accidentally look, I'll be like, you know what? Have grace, but don't do it again. Don't look at them again. That is the part of repentance, is like turning away from that, right? So, okay, cool. You made that first mistake, bounce back from that. And that's something that I've been heavily improving on. And I say heavily because it used to be to a point where it was bad, where it was just like every person is like looking. And like now it's to the point where it's like, if I do happen to look once or twice, like, it's not happening again. Like, that same person won't get looked at in that light anymore, because I'm trying to just have more appreciation for women and who they actually are inside. The kind of woman that they are in their heart, their intelligence, like, all the things that actually matter, because the bodies don't matter. None of that stuff matters. It really doesn't. And it's just like, we as men need to stop objectifying women, and likewise women need to stop objectifying men, because it is the same for both sides. I'm just speaking from a man perspective, right? And like I said, it's not something that I'm happy with at all. And it was hard to share, in a sense, right? Because that's something that a lot of men keep to themselves, or they just have with a close sense of friends. But like I told you, I'm committed to being uncomfortable. So like, if I have to talk about these things, anything that I don't want to talk about, I'm going to talk about. And it's not even about trying to protect myself from people knowing who I am. It's just like, like, I'm just here to share who I am and the experiences that I have that a ton of other people share, but not everybody speaks about, right? So that's where we are with lust, and it's just like, yo, like, I can't tell people how, I don't think one shoe fits all, like, when it comes to lust. Like, everybody has to deal with things differently. Like, when it comes to watching porn, another thing, like, that was something that I would kind of struggle with as well, like, really in a social media form context, not actually going to a website, but on social media, like, especially Twitter. Like, if you're on Twitter, you know how crazy Twitter can be sometimes. And I started to realize that something that somebody used to always tell me, one of my mentors, he used to always say, if something changes, then something's going to change. But if nothing changes, then nothing's going to change, right? So it's like, the people that always need to go, like, on that social media fast and that social media break, because of their it's because of their algorithms and what they're seeing. Like, a man would be like, I got to take a break from social media, because he has all these women on his algorithm. But why aren't you eliminating the problem, right? A lot of times we will use getting off of social media as a cop-out, because we know when we're ready to get back on social media, it's going to be right back in the same place where we left it. But we're not actually doing anything to address the problem, because we subconsciously, we still know that we still want to see what we want to see. And to justify, that fleshly desire, we'll get off for a little bit, but know that as soon as we get back on, it's right where we need it. And this is something I was sharing with somebody the other day, is that, I was struggling to get on social media like a month ago, like, because I was off social media for a very long time. And I realized, I was like, I'm part of the problem. Like, I can change this problem, but why am I not changing it? Because that flesh still wants it. That flesh still sees it. So, like, for instance, on Instagram, bro, I was following, like, close to 5,000 people. Literally 5,000 people. And I was like, you know what? If I'm going to get back on Instagram, I'm going to make this to where, I'm really committed, to the Lord and denying this flesh. So what did I have to do? I had to go through all 5,000 followers and delete every single body that wasn't, representing God in a certain way, or somebody that was promoting something just blasphemous. So all the IG models unfollowed. Anybody that was spreading evilness, unfollow. And now my following count is at like 1,900. So I almost deleted 4,000 people, because those same people that I wasn't deleting were the same people that I was running to on Instagram or Twitter. I went through every social media and I deleted them all, because I'm like, yo, this is the problem. It's still going to be here when I get off of social media and I come back. So how do I change the problem? You have to deny that flesh, and you have to have that acknowledgement of what it is that you're doing and what you're subconsciously trying to doing. So I deleted everything. I deleted everybody, and I changed what I wanted my algorithm to be. And anytime that something would mysteriously come up, a picture here and there, I would either block it, or just be like, hey, I'm not interested in this post, because you can do that on any post that you don't want to see, and it will show less stuff like that. And I did that with all my algorithms on all my social medias, the last 2 months, and now I don't see anything. And that's because I decided to do that. I didn't cave into, the problem. I wasn't the problem anymore. I was now trying to be a solution to the problem that I had, because there's no reason why I couldn't be on social media. It was me that was limiting myself, right? So that's one thing that y'all need to do that. If you have these problems on social media, it's because you're creating these problems. You still want these things on your feed. You still want to see these things every day. That's why you're not deleting them and blocking them and not being interested in these type of posts. Make that move, make that action to, revitalize what it is that you're looking at. Delete those women. Delete those sites that you know that you can get to. Because truth is, you still want it to be there. That's why it's still there. Right? So that's really the experience with lust. And I feel like the societal view of sex is just like, yo, we are just waiting to just conquer people. Like it's very selfish. And like a lot of people, I see a lot of times, a lot of people will be like, hey, like, well, how am I gonna wait till sex how am I gonna wait till marriage to figure out, what if I don't like the sex, like when we get married and stuff like that? Bro, I gotta realize, like, back in the Bible in the old days, like, these people didn't deal with these problems. They waited until marriage and then had sex, and then they figured out stuff with each other. They figured out what they liked and what they didn't like. The reason why it's such a problem now is because everybody's already having sex and they already have an idea of what they like and what they don't like. So it's just like, yo, how am I gonna just go like blindfolded into this situation? And it's just like, yo, I gotta realize that's not how it was back in the day. And that experience is supposed to be saved for marriage for a reason, because it's something that you guys are going to figure out together and learn together what you guys like and don't like, and how to do this and how to do that, right? And it's like, that's one of the worst like excuses that I be hearing all the time. It's just like, how am I gonna know? What if it's not good? It's just like, bro, why are you so worried about sex? Why are you so worried about that? I get it, it's a feeling, but why are you idolizing these things? It's not important right now. It's not, right? So that's been my experience with lust. Something that I've been struggling with, something that I did used to struggle with, something that I feel with people around me are struggling with as well. And I'll follow that up with, the second half of this video, which was, my journey in celibacy. So up until this day, February of 2026, I'm entering almost 5 years of being celibate. 5 years. Now, did my celibacy journey start with God? No, it did not. I will not lie and say I wanted to honor and give my commitment to God, so I'm going to be celibate. No, it did not start like that. It started with what I told you guys before. That gift and that curse, right? That insecurity of, the weight and the confidence is what started my celibacy journey. And God is what carried it on. So like, when I really started to take celibacy serious is when I started to learn what self-love was. I feel like I didn't know what self-love was until 21 years old. Just about like 21 years old. Because of a experience that I had, which, will be shared in another video maybe. But I didn't understand what self-love was. And the day that I understood what self-love was, that was something that I took very seriously. And I wanted to honor myself and give myself that self-love that I needed. So I stopped letting people be accessible. I felt like I knew my worth at that time, and I knew, what kind of man I wanted to be, even though if I wasn't there. I knew the morals and the values that I had and wanted to also have as well. And that really helped me with my journey, because it wasn't just about trying to let every woman have a piece of me, but it was just like, yo, like y'all don't deserve this. Like, y'all don't deserve this version of me. Like, why do I have to keep giving everybody it? Right? And, soul ties and all that stuff is real too. Like, I'll definitely have another video on that as well. But that was what started my celibacy journey. And like I said, we're almost 5 years in, and I'm very happy to say that. I'm not proud that I did have sex before marriage. It was something that kind of used to eat at me just a little bit, but I learned, I just had to understand that God already forgave me for these things, and He has grace, and I have to have grace for myself as well. Like, I did not have God in my life during these times that I was having sex. So, it was all a learning experience. But God has strengthened my self-worth. He's made me understand more of who I am in Him. and the characteristics and traits of him that is in me, and that's what strengthened that celibacy journey. So it's like, I would be doing a disservice to every woman out there if I was still having sex, like giving you a piece of me and not giving you all of me, like knowing that you're not going to be my wife or anything. It's just like, it's selfish, it's just it's ignorant, it's all of the above, right? Like, why would I do these things to you, and why would you allow these things to yourself as well? And that's been my journey with celibacy. You know, still going strong. Don't even think about it. And I'm joyful. I'm joyful because of it. Ultimately, that experience and everything deserves to be shared with that woman that I marry. That missing rib, that I'm longing for. So, um, you know, that's that, and that's how we all should be approaching celibacy and sex in general. Um, Lust will mask itself as love, and lust is all about yourself and your needs and what you want, but love is about others, right? And I got Bible verses to even clarify that, right? So First John chapter 2 verse 16, for all that is in the world, the desires of the flesh and the desires of the eyes and pride of life, is not from the Father, but is from the world. These lustful desires, these desires of having sex, all these things are earthly things. They're worldly things. God teaches us to be in the world, but not of the world, right? So it's just like, you have to wake up every single day and put on that full armor of God and deny that flesh, deny that lustful passion to open up that porn, to have sex with that girl that, you don't really care about. Like, why? Why are you doing these things? Another thing, Matthew 5, verse 28. But I say to you that everyone who looks at a woman with lustful intent has already committed adultery with her in his heart. Straight to the point, self-explanatory. You already committed adultery with her. Right? 1 Corinthians chapter 6, 18. Flee from sexual immorality. Every other sin a person commits is outside the body, but the sexual immoral person sins against his own body. Don't sin against your own body. All that touching yourself, the fornication, that's sinning against your own body. Having sex, sinning against your own body. Right? A lot of sins that we commit is sinning against other people. But when you're sinning against your own body, that's even worse. God does not like that. Read about it. Don't just take these verses, from what you're hearing from me as the bread and butter. Go read the scriptures, and he will reveal himself to you. And he will reveal what he does like and he does not like. And it's going to be on you to determine whether or not you are going to honor that and commit to that, regardless of how the flesh is feeling. Because the flesh is not going to like that. But it's a journey well worth it. Honoring God is the best thing that you could ever do for yourself. And talk about it with somebody. Stop putting everything in the closet. Stop putting everything underneath your feet, sweeping everything underneath the rug. You're never going to get over these things. Everybody's like so scared to let a piece of themselves out, and it's just like, I get it. I understand the trauma response. I understand the protection of your heart with all these things, but God doesn't call us to be like that. And it's through God, through that love for God, through that time with God, through that relationship with God, through that consistency and trust with God, he will open yourself up to these things to either talk about, share it publicly, share it with strangers. He will. And, it's something that we all have to attack aggressively. This love for sin that our culture and society has. It's not doing any of us any good, and it's only leading to worse and worse things. So that's really what I wanted to talk about today. I know I kind of you know, babbled around a lot and, you know, went from here to there and there. But, you know, that's the point of these videos. These videos are just supposed to be raw, really uncut, for real, like just talking, just sharing, and, you know, just spreading the gospel as well. So, hey, if you guys did like this video, you know, holla at me, talk to me, give me some feedback. Let me know if my testimony is in resemblance to your testimony, or if the things that I'm struggling with, you're struggling with as well. Y'all know how to reach me, whether it's in these YouTube comments. For the people that do know me, you either have my social medias or you know my number. Ain't nothing to pick up the phone and call and text me. We could talk about it, right? For the people that don't know me, you know, let's build a community in here. Let's share. You don't even have to showcase, you know, show your name. Your name doesn't even have to be on display if that's how you want to be, right? But let's share. Let's talk about these things that we struggle with so we can learn and have different perspectives on how to deal with these things and heal with these things through God, right? That's really all I got today, man. I appreciate you guys, seriously. Like I said, the love that I've been getting has just been great. It's, you know, just from family members to friends to like even like the OGs in my family, like reaching out and just like sharing how, you know, my openness and my transparency inspires them. And it's just like, you know, that stuff means a lot. I read everything and I see everything. So I really do appreciate you guys. Thank you for the love, the support. Continue to subscribe if this is the type of content that you do like and you want to see more of, because we got some good videos coming up. All right, so continue to like, comment, subscribe, show love to the boy, and you know, I'll be back with some more videos consistently. So appreciate you guys. Hope your hands are in God's hands today, and I'll be praying for you all. All right, so God loves you and he's here with you. So peace, and we'll be back with another video soon, man.